All right, thanks, guys. Really excited for our guys for a big win, and it's one of those games that was tough, hard fought, and probably costly in a lot of ways in terms of some dinged up guys and injuries. But every time we play them, it's a physical war. I mean, it's just tough. They play really stout along the offensive and defensive lines. They had a tough game against Missouri the week before, and I know their defense was going to try to come out and stop everything. I thought they did a really good job of managing the clock and keeping their quarterback from having to make mistakes. And I thought that Eddie did a really nice job of limiting our possessions offensively by what they did with the quarterback and the quarterback runs. He's really big. They're really big up front. They're really good at running the ball. And I know they didn't score but 3 points, but they maintained the ball and were able to have success there rushing it. And always tough to defend these guys. But our kids were resilient. Our kids responded. Tough environment to play in. And I'm really happy about the way we responded and came out and had the opening drive. The second half was big.
Hey, Kirby, regarding the offense today, obviously y'all were able to run the ball, very efficiently. Is there any carryover you think, given what Florida does on offense and probably needing to 14 points probably won't be enough to beat that team?
I would say the key is possessions and not turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm. So did you guys come in with a mindset to wanting to kind of, inflict your will on them with a physical ground game, or was it what they gave you think?
No, we came in with the mindset that we wanted to score every single possession we got the ball and do it by any means necessary. Whether that was run the ball, throw the ball. I mean, it's what you take what they give you, and that's what we were doing.
Kirby, I think I'm trying to remember. I think y'all only had 3 offensive possessions in the first half. I think it was 4, excuse me.
4 with the short one at the end, yeah.
Right at the end. When you don't have as many, is it hard to tell in the first half if y'all are struggling or if y'all are doing what you're supposed to do and Kentucky has the ball too much? How would you categorize that? Can you?
Well, I definitely wouldn't say we're struggling. I mean, not at all. We basically got things down to we had a third down maybe that James or somebody caught a ball, and I think he ended up like a foot short or a yard short, and we just didn't convert. You got to get that first down, which he got one later in almost the same situation. He got the first down. And defensively, you got to get the ball back to the offense. I mean, they had a 19-play drive or something. It was like playing the triple option where you only get a certain number of possessions. But I wasn't disappointed in the effectiveness of the offense in the first half. They just didn't get many opportunities.
Next 2 questions will go to Jake Rowe, followed by Mike Griffith.
Hey, Kirby, with some of those struggles there at quarterback, was there any, thought with, and I know you talked about the possessions, but was there any thought about maybe trying to give the offense a little bit of a spark at some point and DeJuan, JT, anybody like that?
No, there was no discussion about it because I personally didn't, a batted ball on a pass that he's got to get around a guy is not a real struggle. I know that you can say what happens once, shame on me, happens twice, shame on you, but it's one of those things. He's got to wrap the ball around it. He's got to throw it away. He's got to get another opportunity. But he also did a lot of good things in the run game. He pulled the ball and scored with it. He put us in the right run plays. He handled motions. He handled the clock. He did some good things. He didn't get a chance to throw the ball an awful lot today because we were able to run the ball. So.
Yeah, Kirby, I think after the last game, you said you wanted to get back to playing your brand of football. Is that, there was a lot of pounding the ball on the ground. Was that a reference to being able to run the ball effectively again?
I didn't say my brand, first of all. I said,
Georgia's brand.
Yeah, that would be more appropriate, I think, because it's not about me. It's about the University of Georgia. And we want to be able to do whatever allows us a chance to be successful. And we're always going to take what the defense gives us. If they play certain defenses, we're going to be able to take shots. And if they can't stop us running the ball, then, we're going to run the ball. That's what you got to do. You got to be able to stop people from running the ball. And there's a lot of times today they couldn't do that.
Next 2 questions will go to Anthony Dasher, followed by Jillian McIntyre.
Coach, you touched on this to begin with today. Obviously, a ton of injuries, especially on the defensive side, losing someone like George Julian goes down, Quay goes down. Now, I know it's always a next man up, philosophy, but when that many guys, key guys, keep going out, kind of one thing you kind of shake your head, what happens next, or kind of how are those guys right now?
I don't know how they are really. And I mean, you don't shake your head at it. That's what you have other players for. They give us 85 scholarships. You got to use those. You got to get the next guy up ready to go play. It's why we train those guys. They rep in practice. They practice every day in practice. They get their opportunity to play. I certainly don't know that all those guys were exactly ready for that kind of physicality, but they better get ready because they're going to be playing in the SEC the rest of the way.
Hey, Coach, with Zamir's first 100-yard game of his career, can you describe his performance and what this meant for Georgia's rushing attack returning to form?
Oh, I thought he ran with great toughness, so much pride in Zamir. He cares so much about his teammates. He does everything the right way. He's a leader. He never complains, never gripes about touches. He just, runs really hard when he gets the ball. He plays really hard on special teams, and he's an ultimate team player, and couldn't happen to a better guy.
Next questions will go to Chip Towers, followed by Brandon Sudge.
Yeah, Coach, a couple of your key players didn't make the trip with you, as I understand. Can you just how big of a concern is George Pickett's situation based on your comments last week? It sounded like he might be able to good to go today. Do you have a setback, or how do you feel about it for this next week?
They're both just dinged up, and we're hopeful that both of them will get back. They practiced during the week, and we thought they'd be able to go, and just weren't able to. I mean, they weren't going to be effective to go out and play, and so we took other guys. I want them to be able to go, and they want to be able to go. They worked really hard. They got a lot of rehab and a lot of time spent getting ready, and we're hopeful to get them back next week.
Sorry. Kind of going back over to the running game, and especially early on when y'all had all those runs in the open. What type of things were you able to see or take advantage of early on in the run game?
I thought the backs ran hard, and we got a hat on a hat. If you block the right guy and you block them legally, then our backs are hard to tackle. I mean, it's tough when you got a 215, 220-pound back coming downhill at you, and they got blockers on everybody. So when you can do that successfully and put a good run plan together, allows you to have success. But we all know that in order to be the kind of team we want to be, an explosive team, we have to be able to run the ball for longer yardage runs, and we also have to be able to throw the ball effectively. We unfortunately didn't get much of a chance to do that today. I thought, Monken took a couple shots, and he made a couple plays with them. He made a play to Darnell down the field and made a play to James down the field, and those are both things we worked hard on in the off week.
Next two questions will go to Seth Emerson, followed by Mark Bradley.
Kirby, it seems like the key with Stetson is whether or not he throws interceptions, and he didn't have any the first 3 games, and obviously 5 the last 2, not all his fault. But is it a matter of you need to get back to what was working, or is there any worry that like defenses are scouting him better?
No, it's nothing to do with defense scouting him better or doing anything like that. It happens. It happens sometimes when you throw the ball. I mean, it's one of those things. He made one poor decision, and we thought he should have checked the ball down, and he threw the ball deep and was really trying to throw it out of bounds and didn't get it out of bounds. So it's just a poor decision. It's a lack of experience and make good decision. But he also did some good things with the ball, and that's the most important thing for us. It's not necessarily getting back to what we were doing. It's give Kentucky some credit. They got a good defense. They got a good team. They always play good, hard, physical defense.
Kirby, I think I know the answer to this one, but I'll ask anyway. In the eye of a coach, is there any such thing as an ugly win?
Oh, absolutely. There's ugly wins. And,
what was this one?
I don't know. It depends on what your appetite and what your view is. I mean,
Okay.
I would argue that with the sometimes tough getting prepared, adjusting, playing at noon, which people can use an excuse all they want. The other team has to do the same thing you have to do. And then, 4 starters out on defense and having to recover from that. I was very proud and saw some resilient guys out there. And that's pretty to me when guys go out and finish and do things the right way. But we certainly didn't play our best game.
Next 2 questions will go to Allison Mastrangelo, followed by David Pascal.
Coach, overall with Stetson Bennett just making his 4th start, I know we've talked about his turnovers, but what have you seen progress from him just in his confidence and his play calling moving forward?
Well, I would say his overall management of things, being able to handle some of the shifts, motions, decisions, pulls, checks. He makes some good plays. He makes some good timing plays. Unfortunately, you can't combine those things with one poor decision can affect the outcome if it's a 1-score game, it can affect it. And you don't always know when you're going to have that cushion. But he also didn't get an opportunity to make a lot of plays that maybe he could have made because we didn't have to. We just didn't have a lot of possession. So I'm not going to overreact to one poor decision. It would be making those multiple times that gets concerning. And at the end of the day, we got to play the guy that gives us the best chance to win.
Kirby, I know that the injuries up front defensively resulted in Carter and Wyatt having to play a ton. Just curious how you thought, I know you haven't seen the tape yet, obviously, but how you thought they played, especially from like a stamina standpoint, being out there a lot.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you said it. I don't honestly know. I can't wait to watch the tape and see, because not only did they play, I mean, we can't play them more because the other guys are out. We have to play more guys. And Nas got to play, who's been working really hard on the scout team. I got to watch, see how he played. And Warren Brinson played more. So we've got to get some help in there. And we got some guys back home that we think can help us.
Last 2 questions today to Blaine Gilmer and then Joe Schultz.
Kirby, how do you feel? Obviously, you have a lot of respect for Coach Stoops and Eddie Graham. Do you feel like a lot of people underrate that coaching staff and that culture they've created at Kentucky?
I don't really know what people think about them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know whether they underrate them or overrate them, because I don't know how they rate them, and I don't really care. I respect them as men. I respect them as coaches. They know how to manage a game, maybe when, talent level may not be even, and they do a good job of keeping their teams in the game by the decisions they make. Eddie's dealing with a guy, he had a quarterback that had experience, and now he's out. And so he's taking a guy that really hadn't played and trying to play with him. And he's going against a pretty good defense, and he found ways to manage the clock, keep the game close. Those are all things that good coaches do. And I thought they did a good job of that.
Kirby, I understand how you view things internally and how people externally view things sometimes and often perhaps don't align. Externally, I'm sure a lot of people look at your team right now and say they're limited offensively. Internally, do you believe you're limited offensively?
I do not. And I hope one day we get to show it. I hope we get an opportunity to, because we get to go against a pretty good defense every day. And I see them. I see them pass pro, see them throw and catch the ball, see us run the ball, see us play action, see a lot of good things out of our offense. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to see them yet. And a lot of that today was due to a ground and pound ball control by them and a few unfortunate turnovers.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
your time.